Today our protagonist is getting her third lesson from her guru, Siddh, who is secretly Shiva. We begin the 7th chapter now. We are in the second part. These chapters read like a movie script, so it's just a dialogue. A let-up in the rain got us out of the humid library, and we wandered past tents set up for the rafting enthusiasts. Siddh, the Bhagavad Gītā, have you heard of it? I know I have. But our dear protagonist replied, yes. The text was covered in one of my philosophy courses, but I'd paid little attention. I had met my then partner, or my soon-to-be partner at the time, Rory, that year, and was bent on getting him to fall in love with me. More recently, my Sanskrit teacher, Miss Nandi, allowed me to parse one verse, the most important one, she said, as a grammatical exercise. Siddh continued, the war is about to commence. The two armies face each other. There is a triumphant blowing of conches. That's my hand conch. But Arjuna, the hero of the Pandava clan, loses heart. It is more than a civil war. It is a war between family members. Internecine, I said, which is a word I don't know, but a great one that Siddh agrees with. Yes, internecine. Arjuna puts down his great Gandiva bow. He knows he will be victorious since the Lord is with him. Shri Krishna, after all, is his charioteer. But he also knows that it will be a hollow victory. By the war's end, he would have killed uncles, cousins, friends, teachers, and most of all, his beloved grandfather Bhishma, as well as his revered teacher Drona. Shri Krishna hears and sees Arjuna's deep, heartfelt anguish and responds with a smile. Siddh also smiled as he stared across the river, as if he were witnessing the start of that devastating holocaust from 5,000 years ago. Siddh responded, why do you grieve? Shri Krishna asks the despondent Arjuna. Never is this one born, and never does it die, nor is it that having come to exist, it will again cease to be. This one is birthless, eternal, undecaying. It is not killed when the body is killed. This one, I asked, does he mean Arjuna? Yes and no, Siddh continued. Arjuna's abysmal ignorance of his true self makes him buy into his self-important agency in thinking, I am the killer, I am the one killed. Death is certain for anyone born, and birth is certain for anyone dead. Where is the necessity for sorrow? Shri Krishna asks. Arjuna's duty is to bring righteousness back into this world, but he, overcome with emotion, falls prey to self-indulgent pity, and he suffers. Note that Shri Krishna does not order Arjuna to fight. He only gives him access to the truth. The final decision whether to fight or not is Arjuna alone. Can I get access to this truth? I asked. Is it within my reach? Siddh answered, the first step is to live an authentic life. a life of equanimity, where happiness and sorrow and likes and dislikes are the same to you. A righteous life, where your work is performed without hankering after results. Your right is for action alone, never for the results, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna. The Lord goes on to deliver a veritable Chinese menu of options, many perspectives, or prescriptive rather, in nature, that cater to varying talents, inclinations, and abilities. But if I do not care about the results of my work, I retorted, what is my motivation to do anything at all? If you need a motive, Sid answered, make every act a sacrifice, neither welcoming nor rejecting anything that happens to you, good or bad. I answered, then shouldn't I give away all my possessions and become a mendicant, a renunciate, a sadhu? Arjuna's exact concern, Sid affirmed. Arjuna also wants to know if he should put on orange robes and retire to a cave to meditate. Sri Krishna responds that he, Arjuna, a man of action, would be abandoning his duty if he sat in a cave and meditated, a grievous sin. You can't run away and hide just because life becomes difficult. Pick an appropriate path, a yoga, Sri Krishna advises, with the understanding that the wise see action in inaction and inaction in action. Bit of a tongue twister, that is. A Zen koan? I asked. Not a paradox at all, Sid replied. The wise person, when performing work, is fully aware that their true self is serene, inactive, and conversely, when they are inactive, say, sitting quietly, their true self is aware that activity continues relentlessly. Again on the question of non-attachment, how is it possible, I asked? From the moment we are born, we are groomed for attachment, first to our mother, then to our toys, our favorite cereal. Attachment is injected into us in large doses. It is part of our genetic makeup, necessary for survival. Acquisition of objects, continued Sid, and protection of the same leads to attachment, fear, and anger, the Lord says, forcing you onto this remorseless cycle of birth, childhood, youth, middle age, old age, death, birth, childhood, youth, and so on. A hamster on a wheel. Getting off the wheel can only come from self-recognition. Does control of the mind break this bond? I asked. Can meditation lead to this truth, to enlightenment? It is only when Arjuna's mind is quietened that there is the possibility for him to know himself as pure, eternal consciousness. Your mind is your instrument for self-realization, Sid answered, but your mind is like the wind that diverts a boat and drives it along a wrong course. I asked, can't I gain control of the mind through meditation? Complete control of the mind is impossible, Sid said. But you can steady the mind, calm it, by engaging in meditation. Keep in mind that meditation alone will not lead to liberation. But without meditation, liberation will not occur. Pardon me. I asked, what do you think is the most effective way to meditate? Sid answered, Lord Krishna provides instructions on several techniques. Choose what suits you. Sleek canoes flew past. We stopped to take in this incongruous, furious activity on a river believed to be God in liquid form. Mata Ganga. I said, Hari said this was your river. Sid answered, I am the river. He bent down to closely examine a large pink flower. You have a moment of joy when you come upon this dahlia. You are this dahlia. Then a moment later you think, this dahlia is perfect for my puja, my worship. But wouldn't it be nicer if it were yellow? And the next thought is, pink is a terrible color. That woman over there has a yellow dahlia, a more auspicious color. She picked the last one. She is not far from here, and how dare she come here and... That moment of pure joy when you caught sight of the dahlia, a taste of eternal bliss, of enlightenment, has given way to desire, likes and dislikes, inadequacy, envy, fear, and anger, and the beginning of suffering. I asked, but how can I be free of suffering when others suffer? I think my internet connection disconnected for a moment. If my internet connection has returned, do let me know so I can continue where I left off. And if you do remember the last few words, please tell me. Sorry about that. I'm back. Good to know. Now let's see, where did it cut off for you? And thank you for your patience. Inadequacy. Good word, yes. That moment of pure joy when you caught sight of the dahlia, a taste of the eternal bliss of enlightenment, has given way to desire, likes and dislikes, inadequacy, envy, fear and anger, and the beginning of suffering. I asked, but how can I be free of suffering when others suffer? What about the suffering of burned, beaten, discarded children? Do I say to myself it's not really real and go about my business? Sid responded, when you claim to suffer because others are suffering, you appropriate their suffering. Your ego, your small lowercase I-ness, makes the suffering of those children all about you. You get depressed, become paralyzed, unable to act. That's unfair, I retorted. I know what suffering entails. I am not self-centered and selfish. I have been hurt, physically. I know what it is like. I have an ugly scar from that knife attack in Africa years ago. I can't have children. 3 small children, 2 boys and a girl, approached the river edge at that moment, and with squeals excitedly reached for boxes and flowers. Flotsam from funeral ceremonies conducted upriver. Sid consoled, it's perfectly fine to feel sad, but it's not okay to suffer. Sadness is equated with suffering, but they are not the same. Sadness is not your enemy. You are not destroyed in the presence of sadness. Suffering, on the other hand, is your limited lowercase I-ness, insisting that the sorrow of others that you identify with is entirely about you. If one morning you find your new car has a scratch, you cry out that someone has hurt your car. You identify with your car. You are your car. You transfer the scratch on your car to yourself, and you suffer. Sadness may not have a worldly solution, but can be converted into a spiritual one. Sadness cannot and need not be removed, but suffering can and should be. A fine distinction, I admitted, a critical one. Sid affirmed. I asked, what is your definition of suffering? Sid answered, suffering is the veil of ignorance covering your true nature. Suffering has 5 causes. The first is not knowing your true, eternal, unblemished nature. The second, did it cut out again for you? Thank you for letting me know. And should be is where we left off. Okay, let's see, where was that? Sadness cannot and need not be removed, but suffering can and should be. Thank you for your patience. A fine distinction, I replied. A critical one, Sid affirmed. So what is your definition of suffering? I asked. Sid answered, suffering is the veil of ignorance covering your true nature. Suffering has 5 causes. The first is not knowing your true, eternal, unblemished nature. The second is holding on to what you love. The third is holding on to what you hate. The fourth is identifying with your false self, your ego, your I, lowercase I-ness. And the fifth is the fear of death. As you can imagine, all of these are contained in the first one. The most prevalent cause of suffering is when you take this plurality, that river, that butterfly, those children, as separate and different from you. I spoke. The Gita is 18 chapters and 700 verses. It's too much to absorb. I must take notes. There is no need to take notes, Sid countered. Only listen. Sri Krishna, the Master of Clarity, delineates 3 problems to which he provides 3 solutions, and 3 methods for achieving those solutions. The first problem is the impurity of mind. The solution is purity of mind. The method is karma yoga. Do your duty. Work without expectation of reward. Is that clear? Crystal, I said. The second problem is your scattered mind. The solution is concentration of the mind. The method is dhyana yoga and raja yoga, meditation. The third problem is ignorance of your true nature. The solution is knowledge. The method is self-inquiry, shravana, listening and understanding, manana, the resolution of doubts, and nididhyasana, the assimilation of the teachings. Straightforward. We continued our rambling along circuitous gravel paths, shiny green leaves on tall leafy trees. A hot breeze tickled my face. We'll pause our reading of moksha, liberation, there for now. That has been our third lesson from Siddh on the secrets of immortality from Advaita Vedanta. I look forward for our dear author. I am sure that a piece of the author certainly exists in the protagonist, but it is the protagonist that I look forward to continuing to imbibe these teachings and change her life from the inside out. Sooner or later, she shall realize her true nature as the Divine Mother of the universe. Namaste.